So
yeah, it's an invitation really to be curious and to be present, and try to take as much as you can from it, from the experience. I was going to share, it was a comment earlier today about adult children wanting their parents to be safe. And if any of you are being harassed by your adult children, to move out of your home and, this and that, I strongly recommend Atul Gawande's Being Mortal, the book. My brother and I both happened on it around the same time. He shared a copy with my father, and it really helped us as adult children to step back from that issue of safety as being the primary driver, and recognizing that quality of life for our parents was really the most important thing, and that it was incumbent upon us to listen to them and what they wanted, and not try to push them in a certain direction. So having experienced that and watching I think I probably felt more that way to begin with, but for my brother, it was a real eye-opener. And so I share that in case you have anybody sort of leaning on you, to feel one way or another about your life choices at this phase of your life. Any other comments, questions? You can put them in the chat, or you can raise your hand. I will say, in addition, I fully suspect that in addition to our next event, that we will probably try to hold more. Oh, the book is called Being Mortal by Atul Gawande, Gawande. It's on the list in your participant materials. It's one of the books listed there. I fully expect that we will try to hold space for conversations like this, maybe not full day seminars or symposium, but death cafes or some other place where people can come and feel like they can talk about this freely, where it won't be a taboo, and where you can really bring your curiosity and your questions and your whatever your reflections are. Maybe we'll want to make this part of our newsletter as well, to invite people to share. I think, we'll do, anyway, open to ideas on this from everyone. Yeah, Peter. Oh, you're on mute there. Yep. Oh, you're on mute, Peter.
Thank you, everyone, for this really exciting and stimulating discussion. Years ago, I attended a sociodrama presentation, Jacob Marino in New York, and it occurred to me, I wonder if we could have something like that about a family, 2 or 3 generation family on stage, dealing with aging grandfather, aging grandmother, and one adult daughter who is empathic, and an adult son who just wants to get the old man somewhere where it's safe, and stop periodically and have a reaction from the audience, this sort of give and go. And they even used the concept of an alter ego. So say behind the grandfather who's aging is another voice of that same grandfather saying, I got enough of the shit, send me to Manitoba, something like that.
Oh, Peter, that sounds wonderful. Can you share, will you either put that in the chat or send me an email with the details? We have some connections with George Washington University with theater group there. That's done.
I was just going to say, Peter needs to write a script.
yeah. Right.
I need help.
It's partly written. You can hear it. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, Liz.
Peter, that sounds like a really exciting project. And I would also add to Judy's comment that we do have I believe it's weekly or every other week, improv group, members of the Capitol Hill Village who work on improv. And it might be something that could be fleshed out with them. And it sounds like a great idea.
Good.
I also am relatively new at the Capitol Hill Village, and so I'm really just trying to get my arms around the basics of the job. But some of the things that I would love to do is hear feedback from members about how they would like to integrate more conversation about death into their lives. And one thing in particular is a really fun activity that if people are interested in is running a workshop about how to write your own obituary. It oftentimes ends up being a ton of fun and a wonderful way to recall highlights and lowlights over your life. And it's a really nice, almost an icebreaker kind of topic that gets people thinking about their legacy and what they want other people to remember them for, and what was shared earlier in I can't remember which one, Dixcy or Susan, about it was Dixcy who said her friend who was Secret Service, but his obituary was all about his avocations and not at all about his professional life. And so I'd be interested in collaborating with members around that, if that would be fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there any, I know this has been, we're getting toward the, many hours of conversation, and we're almost at the end. So any final comments in our last few minutes?
This is Judy Canning. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
What topics will be discussed in June?
I'm going to toss that to Mary and Susan.
Okay.
Judy,
Oh boy.
Judy Canning, and everybody, we were thinking of today as kind of being an introduction to the topic and starting the conversation. In June, we're hoping to have hands-on type activities, the very specific things that people can do, and perhaps even have documents and forms and activities that work on these types of things. How do you really get this stuff in place? I think we're hoping to have somebody from Compassion and Choices, maybe the Washington district, be there so we can understand more about what's happening there, and to have some practitioners there. So it's going to be practical, hands-on. That's the approach. That's what we're thinking of right now.
Okay, so I just want to thank all of you who organized this today. It was excellent. Every presentation was so informative and reassuring, very reassuring.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Judy, I
Thanks.
put comments in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very sorry I could not be with you because the alarm in our 19 condo area went off at 8 a.m. and didn't go off until 1:15. And so I couldn't hear any of you. So that's why I was hoping about a transcript. It's going to be oral, whatever, because this really means a lot for me to hear what was said, and I look forward to June.
Thank you so much.
It's been recorded, Deborah. So except for the breakout rooms, you should be able to hear all the content.
And whom do I ask to get a recording?
There'll be a link sent out. We'll send out the slides, and we also, I think we should have a transcript available as well for anybody for whom that's a better source. So we'll send links to everybody who attended and make them available. Pamela is sharing on the in the chat that it looks like you were taken advantage of by somebody who presented themselves as an attorney in terms of offering legal advice about legacy planning and life planning. And so having an attorney as a facilitator maybe next time would be something that we should consider. I'm so sorry that happened, Pamela, to you. And yes, we do, you know, I mean, I think people know that the village has vetted vendors. We have people that we know and trust that we're happy to refer you to. And we will certainly have people at the next event. In the meantime, so between now and then, please feel free to share your thoughts. You can always send things to info@, we will pass them on to Mary and Susan, who are the main planners. And we look forward to continuing the conversation. As always, if there's anything that the staff at Capitol Hill Village can do, if we can help you find a volunteer, or if we can do ourselves to help you with your thinking and your planning, any obstacles that you're facing in terms of, you know, how you're going about this, we look forward to doing that. We have one of our newer staff members who some of you may not have met yet, Ari Parker. Ari, I can't see my whole screen, so I don't know if you're still here. If you are, maybe raise your hand. But is interested in getting getting your papers in order group reactivated, and finding ways to you know, support folks who are interested in that process. So anyway, I do want to. Oh, there he is. Oh, there's no picture though. There he is. There's Ari. Everybody meet Ari. If you're interested in the getting your papers in order process, Ari is the staff person to reach out to right now. Well, as Liz said, you don't have to have been at this one to come to the next one, so feel free to invite friends and neighbors. If you have, again, specific questions that we can make sure that we have, we can get answers to before the next session, please send them our way. And otherwise, enjoy the rest of this quiet and rainy afternoon. Huge thank you to Susan and Mary and their helpers, Cece and Mary Bloodworth and Liz, and to our friends at Washington Home, Tiffany, Shenalyn,
Pamela.
Oh, and Pamela. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I meant and Pamela too. But to Shenalyn, Tiffany, and Phyllis for their support, and we look forward, excuse me, to seeing you in June as well. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. This is great.